Welcome to the Music Relish Show, a weekly podcast in which we discuss all things music and entertainment. Sit back and listen to much random relish.
Coming or going on a business trip, you've got no time to waste. And nobody knows that better than Hertz. Whether it's picking up or dropping off your Ford or other fine car, nobody has more to do it faster.
The Girl Scout.
You know it.
Welcome to the Music Relish Show. My name is Mark. It's a beautiful spring evening here in New York State. Perry, by you two in New Jersey?
Yep.
Yeah, nice night out there.
Yep.
Just want to say something before we start, non-music related.
Yeah.
I'm wearing this today because today was Jurgen Klopp's final game as the coach of Liverpool. I normally don't care when a coach leaves the team. I shed a tear when he left.
Wow.
It was rough. It was tough. He was a beacon to his fans. He made every fan feel like they were part of a family.
Well, you love the football, don't you?
Yeah. I never really cared about a sport. Maybe hockey is the second that I care more about.
Yep.
You know.
Well, our friend Lou's running late, right? But
That's
he'll
his
be
middle
here.
name. Oh.
Yeah. Yep.
That's my middle name.
What show is this? Number 72, I think, right?
You know what? I was going to ask you. I was nervously looking. I haven't.
I think it is.
Track.
It's 72.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're approaching our 3/4 mark.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, we have a lot of good things to talk about tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about Ginger Baker.
Mm-hmm.
Going to have some Marty Stewart. Always good for Marty Stewart.
Marty Stewart and his band. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Going to have the usual random relish, trivia, my favorite. And we're going to start off the show with just going to mention one of my favorite bands, Deep Purple, as you know. Wait, can't do the dong on that one. So the record company put out an awesome box set of the 50th anniversary of Machine Head. And you know why I say it's awesome? It's awesome because it's got two rare concerts. It's got a concert recorded at the Montreux Casino right before it burned down. And it's got a concert from BBC. Oh, and there's a little matter of they had Dweezil Zappa remix the album.
Yeah.
Remixing albums can be controversial.
Yeah.
You know my stance on it. I follow Steve Wilson's mode of don't change anything, just put it through newer equipment so it sounds clear.
Yeah.
A few years back, Roger Glover, for another anniversary release, Roger Glover remixed it, and he did a great job. He kept the ambience. It was a little different, but as a member of the band, I gave him a pass, right? He's a
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So I was gonna buy this because I heard, it was a Dolby Atmos, and I'm really into this Dolby Atmos. I said, wow, they picked Dweezil Zappa. Why? It's like, all right. Thank God I listened to a podcast, and I listened to this podcast called the Deep Purple Podcast. These guys know they're Deep Purple. They make me look like a minor fan. So they were reviewing it, and they didn't dislike it, but they brought up a lot of things that scared me. I
got to say, if I can interrupt, you've been telling me about this.
Yeah.
And I listened to the whole record, the Dweezil Zappa mix the other day.
Yeah.
And I did not like it. It's so noticeable, the things that he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
He muddied it up to me. He took the high end off of a lot of things.
Right. The beauty of that album was most of it was recorded in that hotel because the casino burned down. You had, you and I both remember playing the vinyl back in the 70s. You could hear Ian Pace. It sounded like he was down at the end of a hall. Richie's guitars, you could hear the ambience in the room. So what Dweezil did is he fell victim, I guess, to what they call the loudness wars. He just raised everything up. He did something weird with the drums. They have like a slapback effect on them. It's something strange. They sound off kilter.
I'm glad you said that, because let's listen to a sample of Pictures of Home.
Okay.
All right. The original Ian Pace intro, and then we'll listen to the Dweezil intro. Okay.
Okay.
Anybody if you're listening, if you have headphones on when you catch up with the show, take a listen in headphones and you'll see what I mean. Here's the original. Now that's the original.
Yeah.
You can hear the high end. Now listen to the Dweezil mix and listen to how muddy, and he slapped back the drums or something. It sounds horrible. This is Dweezil. You hear the difference?
Sounds like Lars Ulrich.
There's no high end on it.
Yeah.
It does, yeah. You're right. What did he do? And where are his ears to think that sounds good?
Well, I played it the other day in the car. I went, and it's like, we always joke like, oh, if you highly compress something, it sounds good in the car, but it sounds like shit on the a good stereo or your headphones. Yeah, it did sound good in the car, but even in the car, I was like, no, that original version when he hit his snare, I imagine being in that hole.
Snare.
Yeah.
Now the Dweezil thing sounded like old bass drums or toms or.
Yep, and like you said, there's no highs. You don't hear the snap of his snare.
He muddied it up. Like, why would you do that to natural sounding drums?
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe they're thinking of a younger audience. It's possible, or they're thinking people playing at MP3 in the car or on their little earbuds. Maybe that's what he was thinking.
Right.
There is a remaster of the album on that box set as well, so you have one that's more true. But I will not spend the.
They even had the live stuff too.
Yeah, I'm not going to spend the $70 just to get that. But I have another theory, and I got to tell you something. What really bothered me was on Richie's solo on Highway Star.
Yeah,
where he's doing the descending thing.
I heard it. Yeah,
you hear a car revving, right? And I'm like, what? But then I thought about it too. I think what they did was they took Dolby Atmos is 7.1. Right. And I think they just took every effect on those 7 tracks for the 2-track version, and just crammed it down. And you're getting I hear a lot of echo where there shouldn't be echo.
And because he was on the master tape, there were things that you and I never heard that didn't make the final mix in 1972.
Yeah.
But he found them and threw them in there. Yeah.
Or at the end of Highway Star, I think he repeated the scream that's in the opening.
He threw that in there at the end. Yeah.
And
no need for that.
That's what gets purists, people that, all right, so we're the old fogies, right? We grew up with it, so we don't like it because it doesn't sound like it. Hey, if it does make a new generation of people like Deep Purple, all right, I get it.
I just don't think his ears were there for that one. Dweezil Zappa, man, I'm sorry.
In his mind, he had an idea, an image for the album, and it was like, I'm going to make it heavy. That's what I felt like. He was trying to make it heavy metal.
Interesting you said that the drums sound like Lars.
Yeah.
Because they were muddy like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Dweezil version.
A track like Lazy, he really didn't do much. Like, it sounds pretty much like the original.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not
listened to the whole thing. You're right. Yeah. But Pictures of Home, that really got me. I noticed the drums right off the top.
Yeah.
How the original one is nice and snary, and you can hear it, and the other one is just mud.
Yep. The song Never Before, which also starts with drums. Boom.
Always before, never before.
When the drums come in on that, they sounded just disjointed to me. Now, could it be an error with mixing down to 2.1? I don't know. I think it's just so minuscule, but those of us that have heard it for the last... You've been hearing it for 50 years. I have since I've been hearing it for 50 years because when I was 40 years old, my sisters were playing it. And it's just different.
Well, it doesn't matter how it came to be. The fact is, we're very familiar with the record.
Yep. Now, on the Roger Glover remix, yes, there were some little changes made. He did something that some people don't like. He would not start the songs the way they started. He would leave the studio chatter before the songs. So you'd hear him like, dun, dun, boom, boom. Okay. I like that. That was cool by me.
Yeah,
but
I don't mind that stuff.
But on that version too, they just made sure to include the original. And on this one, as long as you do include the original, that's fine.
They have to. Otherwise, the lashback, the feedback will be negative.
Well, I hear, and I didn't read it for myself, but I do hear that Roger Glover gave a a nice statement saying something along the lines of, well, we appreciate what the record company did with this release. They don't want any part of it. It's like they're saying we had no say in it. Cool. Definitely, I'll copy you the Roger Glover remix sometime, and you can listen to it.
Oh, no, I'll find it. Don't worry, I can find it,
I mean, it's much more faithful.
I find it on Apple. I'll find it on...
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so, but anyway, I'd love to buy it, because you know me, I love special editions. If Steve Wilson remixes something, because he just does it exactly the same through new equipment.
Right, yeah, I'm curious to some Steven Wilson XTC remixes, because I'm a big fan of theirs. Yeah.
Yep. Well, I pre-ordered Jethro Tull's Bursting Out, their live album from 77 or 78. He remixed it. He loves to do the Jethro Tull, and it's pre-ordered. I know I'm going to like that.
Wow.
But anyway, for $69, you're asking people.
You're as big a fan of live albums as Jack Calabrese is. That guy loves live records, right?
Well, I like live albums that sound like a concert. So there were 2 David Bowie live albums, Stage and David Live.
Yeah.
Stage faded out between each song, and I'm like, why? There's no continuity, That bothers me.
Yeah.
But that's just the way. Hey,
that sounds like it was done on an 8-track where they fade, to fade out and click.
Well, you don't feel like you're at the concert. Like in Triumph, they did that. They put out a live album and it fades out between. Why didn't you just mix the cheering between the two?
Yeah.
But
so I'm not satisfied with the Dweezil Zappa remix of Machine Head by Deep Purple.
Yeah, agreed.
Hopefully he won't get his hands on Who Do We Think We Are, but maybe he will. Who knows?
But you know what? I heard these guys on Deep Purple podcast say what should have been done, and I agree. They said, why didn't they just have some musician remix each song? Like you have Dweezil remixes one song. Lars Ulrich would have loved to have remixed "Smoke on the Water" because that's like he loves that song.
Yeah, but you want this guy to, you know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. It's not like a tribute record where everybody plays a Deep Purple song.
No, not playing, but remixing. The fact is, I think what they were saying, and I agree, is they threw the whole project to Dweezil Zappa, who has no connection aside from Frank Zappa and the Mothers, but that's really not a connection. But you know what? He got the gig. I guess that's what he's going to move into. Maybe he's going to be. Everyone seems to be remixing now. That's the big thing. It's how the record companies
funk, probably.
Yep, that's how the record companies get us to rebuy stuff, and we fall for it.
Okay, if you're a Deep Purple fanatic, you probably have this remix of Dweezil Zappa.
Maybe
right?
not. I'm a fanatic, and I'm not going to buy it.
Yeah.
I'll pass on it. I got the remix I like, and that's it. So.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Where do you want to go, man?
Hey, man, you want to go to the bar? I'll meet you. I could be down there in 20 minutes, man. Come on. I'll bring my camera. Come on.
Yeah. You want to go to Goodfellas?
Hey. All right. So, do you have some Marty Stewart video?
Yeah. Marty Stewart and his band is called the Fabulous Superlatives, and he had a TV show. We've watched some things in the past with him. And what a band he has. Anyway, they do a Byrds song called Mr. Spaceman, a Roger McGuinn song.
Oh.
Or Jim McGuinn, I think he was known as back then,
Okay.
But you want to have a listen to it?
Yeah.
Let's see what happens here. Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, he has Clarence White's original B-Bender. That's what he's playing.
Nice.
Look how good he is at it.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. All
Kenny
4
Vaughn
feet of them.
Has the Rickenbacker. Yeah, remember that head?
Yeah.
It's a great song.
Nice.
Yeah. They did great. Yeah. Good bass playing, too.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
That is Clarence White's original B-Bender. There's a story about that I'll tell after we do the segment. I have 3 of these of them doing Mr. Spaceman.
I like it. I like his hair there. I like the hair and all 4 feet of him.
Yeah, he's perfect. I
all
think
4 feet.
His wife just died recently too.
Really?
Yeah, Connie Smith, the country singer, was his wife, and I think she passed away recently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wish I knew when that show was on. It's the clips you've shown from that show.
I think was in the 2000s, maybe, or something.
Country music television,
probably out of Nashville or something. Yeah,
yeah. It was a real music show, which means it was destined to not last.
But the fact is that they got Kenny Vaughn's playing a Rickenbacker 12-string because of the song.
Yeah.
So let's see where this one goes. Mr. Spaceman.
Dun, dun. Boom,
Great band.
Boom, 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 boom,
Hey, look,
boom,
they're
boom,
playing through
boom,
small
boom.
amplifiers.
Yeah. Just like they're set up in a garage.
Here it goes. Look how good he is at the bender.
Fantastic.
It makes it sound like a steel guitar.
Yep. That takes skill, man.
Yeah. I'd love to get a B bender, man.
Now, basically, he's moving the guitar. It's the thing that does it is on the back of the guitar. Or is it like, how do you get it to work?
This is the original one. So this routed out the whole back of the telly, and it's on the guitar strap. So you pull down on the guitar strap, and that brings it up a step and a half, or a half step, or a whole step.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I like when Jimmy Page uses it. It's like he's like, ooh.
Yeah.
He's like, because he's so frail, you know. He's like, ugh.
Let's do one more, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, you can tell that's a Rick. Probably rented it just for the song. That's Kenny Vaughn. He's one of my favorite guitar players.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Oh, yeah, I see him on down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's country. And the Byrds wanted to go in a country direction, too.
Yeah. That's
What a
flawless.
band, man.
Perfect. Every note was perfect. The drum sound is good on that, too.
I saw an interview with Marty Stewart, and he goes, it was from, like, I think, Reverb, you know, that music.
Yeah.
Reverb music. Or,
yep. Reverb
you know
magazine.
What I mean? It's a store or whatever it is, yeah. Online
there was a
store.
magazine called Reverb, too, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, probably have but they have an online store also. Anyway, he did a thing. This is Clarence White's original B bender, and he was telling the story about how Gene Parsons, the drummer from the Byrds, came up with it and hooked up the mechanism and all that, and that's the original. And he was saying that after he got together, the Kentucky Colonels were like a bluegrass group that Clarence White's brother was in, Roland White. You remember, you've mentioned him in the past, Roland White.
Yeah.
And they got their band back together, the Kentucky Colonels, which was a bluegrass band. And they were on tour in California somewhere, and and Clarence was loading his amp, and a junk driver came around the corner and killed him.
Yeah, I remember that story.
So he was saying, fast forward to 1980.
Uh-huh.
And he remained friends with Roland and Clarence's wife and the kids and all that. So he gets a call from Clarence's wife and says she needs to raise some money. So he says, whatever you want to sell, I'll buy, So he's saying she wanted to sell some memorabilia, nudie suit, some other Byrds memorabilia.
Wow.
And they wanted to sell him a 54 Stratocaster that they used for parts for the telly.
Right.
And Marty says to the Mrs. White, "Is the pull string still available?" She goes, "That's what you really want to see, right?" So he said, "I'll buy all this from you." He goes, "I'll put my checkbook out here, and you fill in the amount. Anything within reason, we're good with it." And he said, "If it's not within reason, my mother works in a bank. I'll take out a loan." So for all the memorabilia and the original B Bender telly that he's playing, she wrote $1,450.
Whoa.
And he told her, he said the E string on this guitar is worth that. She goes, "I know what it's worth." He begged her to take more money. She wouldn't take it.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
that's something else.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? She knew that he would appreciate it. Like, it wouldn't be
she said you will take care. He goes, "That I will do."
Yeah, he wouldn't
She
flip
goes, "You'll
it
honor
or
it,
sell
right?"
it.
And to this day, he still plays that guitar. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of guitars, man.
Yeah.
Remember that David Gilmour black Strat?
Yep.
Remember
number
the one on
2 or number 3 or something?
Ladies and gentlemen, the black Strat.
Called the Black Shack because he put a black pickguard on it. Watch this. David Gilmour's Black Stratocaster.
420, 450, 480, 500, 50, $1 million. 2,500,000, 2,600,000.
Wow.
$3 million.
For a fucking guitar.
3,100,000, 3,200,000, 3,300,000.
Wow.
At $3,300,000 going once for the Black Strat here at Christie's. $3,300,000. This is your moment. Sold.
Who got it? I'd love to.
Oh, it was somebody on the phone. So it could have been the prince in Saudi Arabia. Who knows what? Do you think they're going to play that guitar? No, they're going to have a museum or something.
Boy,
right?
Perry, times are hard. That people they're having trouble coughing up $3 million for a guitar.
$3,300,000 for his Black Stratocaster.
At least he gave this money to charity, right?
A percentage of it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I thought he was retiring. And I just see he's got an album coming out in September. He's touring.
He's got a brand new album coming out.
I got an email from Ticket-to-Tron, my show on my age, Ticketmaster, saying he's playing at Radio City Music Hall, but cheapest tickets are going to be like $175, $200.
He'll probably play at the Sphere.
Yeah. Hey, good. All the power to him for touring. I mean, he knows he's got the fans. They want to come out and see him.
Well, doesn't he live on the River Thames?
He
has a studio there.
He did.
Boat, right?
No, he sold it. He's got like a regular house now.
Yeah.
He lives in a very rural area. There's a great documentary on him that shows him living like in his cottage, and he makes a nice fire. He's by the water.
Yeah. I think I've seen
fish.
it. Yeah.
And he's got his grandkids, and they play music, and he's enjoying life. He's just enjoying. But I guess some part of him said, "It's time to create music again, David. It's time to go out and tour." Because he really said he didn't want to tour anymore. So, hey, it's great.
Well, you know what I heard?
What's that?
Universal Music Group, UMG.
Our buddies who have great warehouses
just settled a lawsuit with King Crimson.
Wow.
Over the fact that Kanye West had a song called Power however many years ago.
Uh-huh.
And they sampled 21st Century Schizoid Man.
I heard that in a commercial for sneakers. Yeah,
really?
I've heard that song. Yeah, it's an outright sample. Yeah.
Kanye West, and he did it without permission, so they just settled the lawsuit. Let's see.
Hey, if he made...
Boy, and this is way ahead of its time, man. That's like part metal.
Robert Fripp predated metal with that, and then in '74 the Red album with John Wetton. That's a heavy album. I mean, he was but 69. That's 1969. Now, music fans, if you and I were 20 years old, then we would have loved it, right? Because it was different. Yeah. But can you imagine people that thought the Beatles were loud? What did they think in England? When they heard that, they were probably, it's just like, it's the devil. It's great stuff.
Yeah. Really. When was that? 1969? Is that from the first album?
Yep. What was in Robert Fripp's head? Well, you know what though? If you listen closely, it's very jazzy.
Greg Lake singing.
Yep, and it's very jazzy. Yeah. Great. Fripp always had jazz running in his head. He just added distortion to it. But that's so. Greg Lake sang and was a full member of the band on the first album. Their second album, he agreed to do vocals, but he had already said he was joining ELP, so he is on their second album as well.
Oh, so he was only on the one album?
He was a full member on Court of the Crimson King. Then the second, In the Wake of Poseidon, he had already said, "I'm leaving," but he did the vocals. He recorded the vocals for him, and but he never toured with them behind that. He was already in the ELP because the ELP was recording in '69. So that was a busy year for Greg.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Whirlwind.
I found out that, remember the Beatles' Revolver album? Great record, right?
Yeah.
The American version, they left off 3 John Lennon, Capitol Records left off 3 John Lennon songs. They left off Dr. Robert, I'm Only Sleeping, and Your Bird Can Sing. 3 of the best songs on the record.
Wow.
In the UK, they were all on there.
Yeah.
There were like 14 songs on Capitol. They made it 10 or 11. You know what I mean? They took those off there. So on the American Capitol Records release of Revolver, George Harrison actually has more songs on it than John Lennon.
Wow.
John Lennon only had one song on the American version.
So what was the John Lennon song on the American version?
You're gonna have to look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, while you're talking, I'll look it up.
Yeah. Okay.
But that drove me crazy with a lot of those 60s albums. Okay, I'll read you the oh no, I'm looking at the new CD version. They put everything together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Your Bird Can Sing is actually on the remastered version, so they got it all together.
Yeah, but what they did was then remember the Capitol wanted another record. They heard the Beatles were in the studio. They didn't want to wait.
Yeah.
So what they did was, remember Yesterday and Today, they did the Butcher Block cover. Then they of course that was rejected. Then they all sat on a steamer trunk or whatever. Then on Yesterday and Today, which is not only an American release, it's not a UK album. Capitol Records did that. Then on that one, they put on Dr. Robert, I'm Only Sleeping, and Your Bird Can Sing on that one.
Okay.
And they added a couple of singles, a couple of leftover tracks from, one of their previous records. And like Capitol always did that. That
drives me crazy. Who was the Rolling Stones label in the 60s? Decca.
Yeah.
And I don't know who in America. They did Decca.
London, I think, in America.
All right. Yeah. So on some of their albums, they were two totally different albums with the same name. It would come out in the United States with totally different track listing. Yeah. And it's like, come on, I hate that. So now everything's been rectified with CD reissues, and we have Spotify and we have YouTube. But back in the day, I remember asking somebody when I was in like school saying,
yeah, me too.
I was trying to get some Beatles song, and like, how can I get it? Well, you got to track down a copy of what? I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
And then when CDs came out, they came out with Past Masters Volume 1 and 2, and that kind of solved that problem. They put a lot of those songs. Because I finally got, You Know My Name, Look at My Number. I had it on 45. Yeah. But when Past Masters came out, I finally had it on
CD. They put it on an LP, right?
Yeah. Or the CD, Past Masters, the black and the white,
So get this. I saw some documentary on the Kinks, right? And it was their disastrous 1965 U.S. tour.
The one that got them banned?
The one that got them banned, yeah. It was really, they were fighting a lot, but also they had trouble with the unions. That's what got them banned. It was the American Federation of Musicians and some other union, and they canceled a show here. But I found out something interesting. One of their shows in Illinois, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was Decatur, Springfield, Illinois, anywhere around that area. One of the promoters on one of those shows was John Wayne Gacy, who was actually the promoter on one of those Kink shows.
Did he come out as a clown?
Yeah, maybe a crazy clown.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Small world, like Charles Manson hanging out with the Beach Boys.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? Like,
yeah. I also had heard that immigration or some part of the American government didn't like that. It seemed that the Kinks were causing riots. But then again, the Beatles kind of caused riots. They didn't get banned.
Yeah, Rolling Stones. I mean, what's causing a riot? Girls in hysteria. I mean,
well, maybe because the Kinks were slightly heavier. Maybe it was really rough stuff. Maybe because they were a hard rock band, really, when you think about it.
It's the unions that block them from.
Okay.
Well, if you apparently you had to sign a deal with the American Federation of Musicians and another union. The Beatles had to make deals with the union to play Hollywood Bowl, to play Carnegie Hall. You got to sign these deals,
right?
And if you don't sign the deal, well, that's why they could never play in the U.S. again, because the union, the musicians union, would not let them play.
I feel like that's their management that did that, because I couldn't see Ray and Dave say and that maybe the guy thought he was a Peter Grant and he could just well, I can get a few more bucks, but. Dude, should have signed it, because they lost a huge part of their career by not being able to play. It gave them a problem. Now, of course, they got that all back in the late 70s. It became an arena rock band.
Yeah.
But they missed out on a lot. They could have been much bigger than they were putting out really good music when they couldn't play in the U.S. I think Clive Davis is the one that pretty much got them back because he signed them to Arista.
Arista, yeah.
Yep. He did it. He rescued their career in some ways.
Well, that's a powerful individual.
Absolutely.
And I saw them when they were doing that Superman thing.
Yeah, that's when my sister saw them. I saw the last couple tours, and I saw the one where they were an hour and a half late, and Ray came out and called his brother the C word and said, sorry, my brother's being and Dave played with his back to the audience or sat down the whole show, and it was only like an hour long, the show, and I was like, that was the last time I saw him.
Wow, really?
Fighting siblings. We've talked about that.
When I saw them, whenever that was, sometime when they were doing that Superman thing, what was that, the 80s, late 80s?
Late 70s.
Late
70s? Yeah.
79, maybe? That's when I was
budget.
going to a lot of shows, yeah. They sounded good.
Yeah.
They sounded really good.
A lot of energy, right?
Yeah.
Just a lot. Ray Davies jumped. Even when I saw him in the mid-'80s, Ray just jumping around the stage. He came out, he would wear a suit with sneakers, and he'd be jumping around, and I'm like, is there a substance in him causing him to do this? No, I think he just felt the music,
Yeah. In fact, he was the only one who changed outfits. They took a break, and he came out with a different outfit. But they were good, man. They played Celluloid Heroes. They played all those. They played Victoria, though, too, man. That's one of my favorite songs.
That's a great song.
Yeah.
See, they stopped doing some of those songs by the mid-'80s. They were doing more of their arena rock stuff. But what I liked is Ray always had a theater attitude in mind with the music.
Yeah.
Even into the 80s when they were just doing arenas, he still kept that theater. He would demonstrate for you. He would pose. He was acting out the songs. And that's another reason why sometimes he changed. He was just like, this is the second part of the show. And he would come out. I remember when he did Celluloid Heroes, he was acting on stage,
Yeah, it was quite theatrical, actually. Yeah.
Don't step on Greta Garbo.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
What are you going to do?
I know.
So,
and just gotta stay away from that Timu,
Oh, boy.
Well, I have a niece. She, 10 months old or whatever,
Yeah.
So I ordered a little keyboard for her from Timu, it was like $10. I said, yeah, I'll order it. What the hell, And she liked it. Well, a couple of keys fell off right away. It's just like, it's just junk. It's just junk. And plus they deconstruct everything.
Yeah.
Like they'll have, they'll have guitar pedals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously they took a Boss pedal, deconstructed it, or de-engineered it.
Yeah.
And they make their own, and it's the same color. It's a yellow one. They got a pink pedal, an orange pedal. You know what they're doing. You know what I mean? It's just a Chinese copy of a reverse engineered Chinese copy of a Boss pedal, and
everything
whatever
there,
it may be.
The plastics, the metals, the soldering is all second rate. So if you actually took that to a club and used it, it would last maybe one gig.
Yeah.
But the thing with your nieces, that's not bad. Like if a little kid says, like my kids wanted an electric piano when they were 12, 13 years old, Roman and Anthony. So what I did is I didn't go to T-Move. That wasn't around back then, but I walked into Alto Music up in New York, Rockland County. And I said,
I've been to that store. Yeah.
Can you tell me the cheapest electric piano you have, but not cheap as in it's a kiddie thing. I want an electric piano.
Electronic keyboard.
They sold me a Yamaha for $100.
Mm-hmm.
And in the back of my mind, I knew if the kids don't keep up on it, I'll take it because I play. And $100. Whereas I could have blown 500, 700,
I've got a Yamaha keyboard right here. And I don't remember what Lou has the same one because him and I used to buy the same equipment so that when we were working on tracks separately, we can get the same sounds.
Right. Good idea.
He has the same keyboard. He has the same Behringer preamp that I have. He has the same Behringer virtualizer. We have pretty much the same equipment.
Yeah.
This way we can achieve the same sounds.
Right.
Wise
thinking. That's good.
That was way back then too. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Nowadays, but the one thing you keep to your own sound is guitars. You play your own guitars,
Absolutely. Even when I do work, on recording, I don't, you know what I mean? Like I'll get the guitar sound before it gets recorded. I'm not going to get a plug-in and then decide on 1,000 amplifier sounds at that point, no. Yeah. It's easy enough to do it right here,
Exactly. Yeah. Speaking of guitars, we were talking about I want to buy a Les Paul, but I see Paul Reed Smith came out with an $800 model. Now, I've always had a soft spot for
$800 Les Paul copy or Stratocaster?
Paul Reed Smith.
Yeah.
PRS. So it's their own guitar, but it's an 800, which they've always been like $2,000-$3,000.
Yeah.
I heard from somebody that had a good friend that bought it and said it's sweet. It's really good. So I might blow my money on a Paul Reed Smith instead of a Les Paul, because $800, that's good, you know? So they probably make it in Taiwan or something, but.
Well, let me plug a YouTube channel that I'm subscribed to. It's called Scar My Guitar. And this guy named Sean, he orders like a PRS, Paul Reed Smith Stratocaster.
Uh-huh.
He orders guitars from Amazon. He orders guitars, you know, Stratocaster copies or whatever. Then he checks them out, and sometimes he changes the pickups or whatever. But he's like, some of them are good right off the bat. Some of them are crap right off the bat. But like he always does this, you know, like.
I like that. It's like the Top Gear of guitars. He's not afraid to say a guitar's crap. Whereas Jeremy on Top Gear would take a $60,000 BMW and go, "This is a piece of shit," you know.
Yeah,
that's good. I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna check them out.
In fact, I saw an article. Somebody sent me. Our friend Tom Griffin sent me an article about the. I forgot which studio it was, but they were throwing their tapes from their vault into a dumpster.
Oh.
And people were saving them, reviving them. And in fact, on Scar My Guitar, a friend of his named Brad found a Les Paul at Guitar Center in a dumpster. So what happens was, if there's something, this is what Guitar Center does. If there's something wrong with the guitar, like some little defect, they can't just give it away. They have to destroy it. Yeah. So they hit it with a hammer. They knock the head off the guitar. They smash it so that it's unusable. Like,
burns me up.
Why wouldn't you just donate it to a youth center or anything like that? They have to destroy them and throw them in a dumpster.
Yeah. So that's a problem with big business in general. My wife works for a big box store. Won't say which one. But back in the day when everyone physically bought their music and their movies, so DVDs, VHS, there was a golden period where you had VHS, DVDs, CDs, and cassettes. Records were already out.
Yeah.
And if somebody just ripped the shrink wrap off of a CD in an attempt to take it, they had to throw it out. And also sometimes they would actually be told from the home office, this album from Heart is not selling. Throw them all out. They were supposed to smash them. So she had a boss that actually would give everything to the employees. Like, why am I throwing out? He would give. We had so many DVDs she was bringing home every day. It was great.
Yeah.
Like somebody would attempt to steal it. They slit the top of the case and they're gonna So
and Nancy, Nancy's right on target, man. When she says things like that,
Oh wait, yeah. So he got fired for that though, because he was giving. He's like, hey, why am I getting it? Probably like it would kill me to destroy something you could give. It's like, why? And then with guitar, that's multiplying it by 1,000,000. That's like, you're right. Give it to a youth center. Some kid could be the next awesome musician.
They have to destroy it. That's what the Gibson company does. You have to destroy it. They knock the head off of it. They hit it. They cracked it. Smashed it with a hammer. And anyway, this guy.
That's murder.
This guy from Scar My Guitar, he fixed it up.
Wow.
He fixed it up. Had to make a new neck, though.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, in other words, if there's a defect with the Gibson, from the Gibson factory, they destroy it, they smash it. Like, dude.
Now, Perry, let me ask you.
Give it away. Sell it at a discount,
You're working at that store, and they tell you to do it. Could you do it? Could you take a hammer to the headstock of a Les Paul? I couldn't. I think I'd lose my job.
They're probably on camera watching them do it,
yeah. Oh, and
that's what the Gibson company does. Yeah.
Probably Fender too. I wouldn't be surprised if they
That's why they almost went bankrupt. The Gibson company.
Weren't they bought out by some company that had nothing to do with music, I believe, or something?
But destroying guitars, dude. Like, really?
It's like a slaughterhouse when you think about it.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta notice too that Tony Pigg, FM DJ, 85 years old, passed away.
I grew up with him.
Tony Pigg. He was famous for a New York station called WPLJ, which I think was 95.5, wasn't it?
That was my station. I wasn't a WNEW guy. I was a PLJ guy. So
You were a PL guy, yeah.
It had Scott Muni, had Carol Miller, among many,
Yeah.
And
this
Carol
was all,
Miller.
but this was all before streaming.
Right. It was
so the radio was
radio.
important. Yeah.
Yep. When Ronnie James Dio joined Black Sabbath and they recorded a live album with him, Live Evil came out. And that weekend, WPLJ played it in its entirety, like 2 times on Saturday, 2 times. And I remember going to my radio and saying, I'm going to listen to this. Like, it was a different time. PLJ played whole albums. They would have album side weekends, I remember. So you'd hear either side A or B of whatever. If they played anything, it was that whole side. I love that. That was great times.
Well, it did get a little tired, though. One of these channels, I forgot which one it was, like in the morning, it was Bruce Juice. So every morning, at breakfast, they would play you Bruce. So what? Because it rhymed.
Breakfast with the Beatles too. That got a little tiring,
or 2 for Tuesday. Like 2 for. 2
well,
for
you know
Tuesday.
what? He started to have the program directors.
I'm sure every market. I'm sure Scott McLean in the Boston area had the same kind of DJs, with 2 for Tuesdays and.
But what was nice is when I did travel back in that time, different radio stations in different cities had like, oh my God, they're playing this Kinks song I never hear in New York. But then I remember once it became corporate, I went to Seattle. I went to see my sister in the Northwest, and they drove me to Seattle. And I said, can I put on the local classic rock station? And I heard the exact same what I hear in New York, and I realized I thought it would be different in Seattle, and I was like, nope. They were playing rock and roll from Led Zeppelin. Can't get enough from it. Give me 3 steps. Just the same crap. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, the other day I watched what was the thing with Jack White and Edge and Jimmy Page? It might get loud.
It's going to get loud. Yeah.
I saw that. You know what? You know who the coolest guy there was? Jack White, man. He doesn't give a fuck.
I loved it.
He says, I'm going to trick them into showing me what their tricks. I'm going to trick them into showing me their tricks.
He was not the least bit nervous being around Jimmy
at all.
Page.
No.
He's
too cool. Yeah.
But that was a really unique movie to get those 3 together.
Yeah.
Whoever thought of that,
Yeah. But Jack White, to me, he has the soul of like an old bluesman. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's got like an old bluesman soul.
Doesn't he have a booth in his house that records direct to vinyl?
No. At his third, what's his studio called? Third Man.
Okay.
Yeah. He has a place in Nashville. He has a place in Detroit and in London, by the way, now too. But his Third Man, he's got original cutting lathes. He's got the old recording booth. He's got,
so he did somebody's album where they actually sung directly to the lathe. Like it used to be done in the 30s?
He did a thing, live, cut it live right there. Did Willie Nelson was there.
You can't
Willie
mess
Nelson
up.
sang a song, played and sang. It was cut right to a record right there.
Because if you make a mistake, throw it out. Yeah.
Through an old microphone,
Yeah. You can't screw that up.
The way records used to be done,
Yeah. Oh, by the way, speaking of Willie, it was bound to happen. He's coming out with Willie Nelson is coming out with Willie's Cannabis Cookbook.
Really?
I love Willie.
So I got this thing also. I'm looking at an article that got sent to me. Let's see. Evan Stanley, Paul Stanley's son, 29-year-old son, released his new single, Getting Started. Yeah.
Hey, I wish them all the best.
And guess who they opened for? Kiss.
Well, I remember about 5 years ago, Paul Stanley saying, I told my kids, you can do anything you want in life, but don't go into the music business. Well, his son did, so.
Yeah. Well, here it is. Here's the other article. Here, in 1987, Olympic Studios in London placed its entire tape inventory, including recordings by Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, in a dumpster. Collectors salvaged many reels. Some were reunited with artists, and others became bootlegs.
It blows my mind.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They threw him in a dumpster. Yeah.
A piece of tape with that music should not be mixing with food.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been 2 tracks,
Yeah.
these reels and
You know what it is? Some guy said to some workers that didn't know, "Hey, clean this room up, throw it out." So they don't know.
yeah, but now they're getting him transferred, so
Nice.
like that's cool too. But yeah,
Yeah.
Olympic Studio. This was back in '87. They placed its entire tape inventory in a dumpster. Can you imagine?
Yeah, man. Hey, did you hear that there's going to be a Beach Boys doc on Disney? This is after
no,
Get Back.
I don't get Disney. Yeah.
All right, so Mike Love said that he's been reconnected with Brian Wilson because they're filming for this documentary.
Yeah.
And I think and they're open. Brian is actually open to making music together. Brian, don't with Mike. Don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah. When was this though?
Just recently. It's going to the documentary's coming out on May 24th. Now, I'd like to know, is it going to be an honest assessment of the Beach Boys, what Mike Love does? Is it going to show everything, or is it going to be an authorized? Let's see.
Well, it's interesting, because, I remember saying a while back, well, I guess Brian Wilson won't be writing any. But then again, I was a healthcare worker for 15 years. I've seen a lot of dementia, a lot of Alzheimer's. And the one thing, though, is music. Some of these people I've seen, they know all the words to Frank Sinatra songs.
Yeah.
It's in their long-term memory. So Brian Wilson may still be able, when he's behind a piano, like Glenn Campbell even, may still be able to do that.
Well, listen to this. Mike Love said that, his disorder's gotten worse, but he said he insists his musical abilities are still intact.
Wow.
He said, we got together at Paradise Cove in Los Angeles at the end of the documentary.
Cool.
He was remembering things I'd forgotten about our high school days. His long-term memory is right there. His musical abilities, as long as he's alive, he'll have those. But he does need medical supervision and care. And the problem is his wife took care of that. So
yeah, she was his caregiver. Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe we'll get more music out of Brian. Why not?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, okay, listen, Mike. So what are you going to do? You're going to be writing songs about cars on the beach now? I mean, Kokomo should have been the end of it,
Well, did he write Kokomo? Or was that an outside writer?
I'm sure there were probably 4 names on Kokomo.
Yeah,
Can you find out?
Yeah. One of the worst songs ever written.
Oh, it's a horrible song, yeah. I have a trivia question for you, though.
All right, before you say that, songwriters for Kokomo: John Phillips, Scott McKenzie, Mike Love, and Terry Melcher.
Yeah, I remember we discussed that in the past.
You got it. You said it. 4 writers. You got it, Perry.
Yeah, there was, and what's his name? Who was the other one?
Well, John Phillips, Scott McKenzie.
Scott McKenzie. He's the guy. If you're going to San Francisco, wasn't that him?
Yeah. So that gave him a lot of money later in life.
Make sure you wear flowers in your hair. Yeah.
And Led Zeppelin had to credit him because on Dazed and Confused, on The Song Remains the Same, Robert goes into that. But he does it in a dark key. If you're going to say, but they had to put it on the record label.
How about, what was the one, Whole Lot of Love, right? Yeah. They had to, Willie Dixon sued them and won.
Isn't it funny, though, when they did Song Remains the Same in 1975, they didn't try to steal that from Scott McKenzie. I guess Peter Grant thought it was only 8 years old at the time. Maybe he thought, we'll get
steal
sued.
What from Scott McKenzie?
No, when they put out the album, Song Remains the Same.
Yeah.
Side 2 is a 28-minute version of Dazed and Confused. And then if you look on the label, the vinyl, it says contains Scott McKenzie's San Francisco. And so Peter Grant didn't try to steal that, probably because he thought this guy's alive. He didn't care about the old blues guys. He thought they weren't going to catch. He probably thought they were stupid and they weren't going to catch up to him. So they did credit somebody.
If you're going to San Francisco, I don't know. Scott McKenzie may have written it, but like Bert Jantz, right? With Black Mountain Side, is it? Right? Yeah.
He never took He said he didn't. He knew it was stolen, but he just didn't feel the need to fight or anything.
But the interesting though, you need. I think Willie Dixon's song was called "You Need Love."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You need love. Right. And of course, they turned it into a whole lot of love, but they still took that. You need love. Maybe I'm not fooling. You know, that's Willie Dixon. Muddy Waters recorded it, but it's a Willie Dixon wrote it.
Yeah.
Even the Small Faces recorded that. And, you know, and don't forget, Steve Marriott did that vocal thing, you know, and Plant was always at a Small Faces show. He was always in the crowd there, you know, young Robert Plant. But even when the Small Faces recorded it, they wrote Steve Marriott and, you know, whoever else on it. So in other words, that's kind of just the way they did it. But finally, Willie Dixon or Willie Dixon's estate got compensated for it.
Look,
and
Peter
he had
Grant,
his name on it too, by the way. He's a
Peter
co-writer
Grant,
now.
Peter Grant changed that whole game. He tried to grab every penny he could for the band. You know, it's funny. Steve Marriott was to Robert Plant what Big Jim Dandy was to David Lee Roth. If you hear Black Oak, Arkansas, you see that's David Lee Roth. The way the guy dressed, the way the guy sang.
You mean they looked alike with the long blonde hair, or
the white tight pants? Yeah,
and not having the best of voices either, right?
Right. But showman and consummate showman, and you know, it's funny, you know. But Rick Emmett famously said, and I'll never forget.
Who's Rick Emmett?
He's the guitarist and singer for Triumph.
Oh yeah,
and he said, if you copy yourself, it's called style, because he admitted, like, a lot of times writers will write a song and then 5 years later they write a song that sounds like a song. You can do that. That's fine. You know, if you copy your own song, right? But he said if you steal someone else's, it's called plagiarism. And he was kind of referencing, because at that time, it's when Led Zeppelin was starting to get taken account for, all these things that they didn't give credit. All right. And boom, a drummer just appeared. Lou's here.
Two drummers. We have two drummers in the compound.
Like the Grateful
Where did he
Dead.
come from, man? Wow, man, that was a trip. He just appeared.
Wow.
We got Lou and Lou Jr.
Lou and Lou, yeah.
Actually, Lou Jr. and Lou the Third.
Oh, okay.
LJ and L3. Yep.
Oh, yep. What's going on, guys? Sorry, I missed you last night.
It's okay.
No, you just got here late. That's all.
Yeah. This is the
I mean,
second
I missed talking to you guys last night.
It's our therapy.
Thing. You know,
right? We all. It's our therapy every week. I look forward to it.
That's right. But is it working though? Is the therapy working?
No, not with me. Nothing will work.
No,
it's still massively
incurable.
So anyway, Perry.
Yeah.
You got any trivia that you'd like to?
Yeah. Are you guys up for some trivia?
Me, Lou, and Lou. You got three people to stump here.
All right. Here's trivia question number 1. What U.S. Beatle album was released not on Capitol Records, but on United Artists label? 1964, I believe. It wasn't it's a U.S. release, not on Capitol Records, though. It was released on United Artists.
64, you said?
Yeah.
What's that?
64? 1964?
1964. It was an American release, U.S. release album, not on Capitol Records, though. Released on United Artists label. And, of course, it had a different track listing than the U.K. and the Australia version.
64.
1964.
It was Beat the Beatles.
I would think 64. 64 would be too late.
Beatles for sale.
I'm going with Lou on that.
Well, it was Hard Day's Night because it was a movie released through United Artists.
I was wondering about that, but what about Help?
I don't know about Help, but but in America, Hard Day's Night was on United Artists. Side 1 was, some Beatles songs, and the other side had the George Martin soundtrack on it.
Right. Who was the guitar player that was on that? The English guy. The kind of weird name. That Buzzy fighting.
Big Jim Sullivan?
No. He played a guitar, but he did the James Bond guitar.
Oh, I thought it wasn't a Beatle doing it. Okay.
No.
Okay. Here's another trivia question.
Yeah.
Guys, What was David Bowie's first U.S. #1 hit? David Bowie's first U.S. #1 hit.
I'm going to just take a stab in the dark. Suffragette City.
All right, let's hear from L&L.
Which
LL
might
Cool
be-
J.
Yeah, L2 and L3.
Okay,
I
Lou.
wish Anthony was here.
Golden years.
Okay. David Bowie's first U.S. #1 hit was
Wow.
That was number 1, huh?
First.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
Wow.
We were close.
John
Yeah.
Lennon got him a number
I
1.
figured he would have had one before then.
Yeah,
Well,
I
that was
was
his
thinking Spider.
first U.S. #1
U.S.
hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Spiders was bigger in the U.S.
All right, here's another #1 hit.
All right.
What was the first U.S. #1 hit of the 1980s? So it has to be 1980.
For David
First
Bowie?
US hit.
No. This is just the first U.S.
Oh.
#1 hit of the 80s.
What I Like About You by the Romantics.
Heat of the Moment by Asia.
L3, what do you think?
Not what I was expecting. I'm not sure. What
I don't think the first U.S. #1 hit of the 1980s is
Wow.
Lou's song.
Rupert Holmes.
Really? That's 15 seconds.
And it's funny because you had mentioned the complexity of that song just a week or so ago, didn't you, Lou?
I did. It's got some rhythmic complexity that you wouldn't expect from a pop hit. It's a different. The Romantics. That was the first album released in the 1980s. But it wasn't
Yeah, but this was the first U.S.
First
#1
number
hit.
one
of the
hit, wow.
1980s.
So was it 1980?
It was 1980. Yeah.
80, yeah.
Okay, here is another one. What is the first UK #1 hit of the 1980s? Of course, 1980 is the year. The first UK #1 hit of the 1980s.
Something by Adam Ant.
It's a good guess.
Gary
What
Newman's
do you think,
Car.
L3? Mark?
I feel misplaced right now. I'm not really sure what to.
So
First,
Adam
this
Ant?
is UK now. This is UK #1
Lou
hit.
doesn't know who
Who
Adam
is
Ant is.
Adam Ant? That sounds.
Oh, it was a cartoon
That
card.
sounds goofy.
That's funny. It was a he was a musician. Don't drink, don't smoke. What do you do to Sato and you when? You ever hear that song?
No.
He's 18.
You're not missing much.
That's why I feel misplaced.
That's okay.
Mark?
I'm too young for
Oh,
this.
with,
First
uh,
UK #1 hit of the of 1980, of the 80s.
Oh, I just had it. Oh, crap. It was on the tip of my tongue.
If you want a hint, let me know.
Hints. We can do hints.
Yeah.
They're a British group, but there's an American in the band.
The Police.
Supertramp. Breakfast in America.
Don't stand so close to me.
In pocket. What a great record, man.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't have thought the Pretenders because of Chrissy.
Yeah, that was the first UK #1 hit in 1980. Yep.
It's Chrissy
Lou's
Hine.
not
I
listening
don't
to the
know as
Pretenders.
much as y'all.
You should check out the Pretenders, Lou. You'd like them.
Pretenders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First album.
First 2 albums are my actually Lou. I listened to Learning to Crawl this week, and I forgot how good that was because that's the first one after the guys died.
Right.
And that had Back on the Chain Gang,
You
great
listen
stuff.
Back on the
on
Chain
that.
Gang. Back on the Chain Gang. Back on the Chain.
Maybe.
Okay. All right. Well, check out the Pretenders first.
We got
I'll
one
definitely
more.
check 'em out.
Who
Mr.
is the
Achievement.
most recorded guitar player in music history? The most
Buzz-
recorded guitar player in music history.
Buzzy Fightin'.
Steve Lukather.
I'm going to say it's somebody like Tommy Tedesco. No. Anyway.
All right, do you want the answer?
How about a hint? I want a hint. Throw us a lifeline.
You already got it. The answer is Tommy Tedesco. 7,000 sessions. Yeah.
Really? Wow. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. He was in the
You
record.
got it.
Oh, I know that.
Mark says that he looks like Scotty McLean.
He looks, yeah. Show it again. Show him again.
With a wig on?
Oh, by the way, see his Telecaster?
Yeah.
His Telecaster is called a slab board Telecaster.
Why is that? What's that mean?
I'll tell you why it is. Because let me see if I can show you a picture. You see how thick the rosewood is on the old one? See how thick that is?
Yeah.
That's why it's straight across. See how it's straight across on the bottom? It didn't really follow the contour of the bend of the neck. That's why it's called slab board. The ones you get now, you see how thin the veneer is? The other one is a thick piece of rosewood, a slab of rosewood. That's why they called it a slab board, Fender necks. Yeah.
Is there something preferable about that?
Yeah, the playability, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know who the Wrecking Crew were?
Yes, yes, I do.
Tommy Tedesco. He was he played on the Batman theme amongst many, like Bonanza.
Yeah.
He's everywhere.
Yeah, 7,000 sessions apparently.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was like the Hal Blaine of guitar players, basically. Or?
You know, that's a good comparison. They were
Yeah,
the same,
pretty much. And when they work together so much too. Yeah.
Right. I don't know how many number ones he was on. Probably quite a few.
Although I would say Tedesco melded into the music more. You didn't know it was him, but
true.
Hal Blaine, Lou, you taught me how to listen for Hal Blaine, like his sound. And sometimes it's got to be Hal Blaine, you know.
Yeah.
I think Tommy Tedesco's, I think he's playing the acoustic guitar in the beginning of like, is it Something Stupid? Or is that Strangers in the Night? Strangers in the Night.
Glenn Campbell was on Strangers in the Night also.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Where do you want to go, Mark?
Tour, the 68 tour, where Eric just said, man, I've had enough. And I said, yeah, man, so have I. And that was it. The end of the gig. We told Stig, we don't know whether he believed it or what.
We did what we set out to do, and I think we couldn't have done any more. I think it lasted just the right length of time.
2 years, right?
The little statement that we had. I never thought that I would be in a commercially successful band. I didn't set out to do that in my life. It just happened that way. I'm very glad that it did, though. It was a great experience.
They played their asses off every night. Eric was out there doing an 18-minute solo, Jack all over the neck. He couldn't continue doing that, 2 years. That's right.
No,
You know,
and
I
he
really
said
wish
it was
they
too
would've
much
kept
like a
going.
job. He's a gypsy, has a gypsy mentality, Clapton. He says, I couldn't do it, you know?
Also, I mean, in '68, the band put out music from Big Pink, and Clapton was so influenced by that. He didn't want to play loud music. I think he even said, and I would think he would regret saying it, like, music like the band from Big Pink made Cream sound just so over the top. And when you think, when I'm listening back, and there was a time I thought maybe Cream were over the top, but when I listened to those albums, I'm like, no, they weren't. And if they were just there were three virtuosos that pulled off pop songs. I mean,
there was a studio band and a live band. The
What's
studio
that?
band there was a studio Cream and a live Cream. The studio Cream was up for experimentation,
but
they
it was
tailored
just-
the production to fit the songs, and then live they were a whole different animal.
But I could see them wanting to, I can see Clapton, he became slow hand after that, didn't he?
Yeah.
He got that in the
Heroin hand.
Blues Breakers. He got that thing. It's weird. Cream is an aberration for Clapton's career because when he was with Blues Breakers, he was in the Yardbirds.
It was for all of them.
Straight blues player. Cream, he was out. Yeah. Then he went back to playing blues. So that the Cream's part of his. That's like the only that stands out like a sore thumb, compared to what everything else he did.
And I like the sound of the records now. There was a time when I thought they were a little too thin.
Whose records, Clapton or Cream?
Cream. I thought there was a time it was just the headset I was in. I thought Disraeli gears sounded too bright, not bassy enough. But now listen, I'm like, no, it's great.
I agree. I felt the same, Lou. It's funny. I had the vinyl albums, and they never sounded good, but I didn't have the best stereo system either. So then years later, when I got a stereo system with a subwoofer and I listened to them, I'm like, oh, these sound really good.
Yeah.
Production is.
And,
interesting. Yesterday, go ahead, Lou.
The album cover is really good. Now it's my favorite album cover right now. It's been for a while.
It's great, isn't it?
It's just the color. It's the 60s. That just says 1960s. And like Peter Max or whatever. But it wasn't the guy that did the album cover wrote Tales of Brave Ulysses. He wrote the lyrics.
Well, in the beginning of the show, we did, Mark and I listened to
like that?
Deep Purple Pictures of Home with the Ian Pace intro. And we heard the original, and then we heard the Dweezil Zappa remix.
I haven't listened to him yet.
Well, you'll hear it when you hear the show. Just wear headphones. You'll notice it right away. Okay. The original one had nice high end on it, and you can hear that he was hitting a snare and a tom.
You hear the hotel corridor he's in.
Yeah.
You hear the ambience,
The Dweezil version, it was just mud. And Mark even commented it sounded like, who's the guy from Metallica? Lars Ulrich.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Now, it's funny. I said
Lou's a big fan of Lars Ulrich.
Yeah. Well, what I was saying to Perry was like, for us, Machine Head, when that first came out, no picking on Lou. No picking on Lou. It was like the first albums that I heard ambience, I remember just playing the vinyl, and listen to it sometime on Spotify. In the car, it actually doesn't sound bad because it's all compressed, so you'll actually hear a heavier version of Highway Star on it, but on a big stereo
with engines revving.
Yeah, on the staccato part, part of the solo. Yeah, you hear. It's like, come on.
It's like Panama by Van Halen.
Yeah.
Was Ian Pace also British or from England?
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what I was just saying.
Also, another one that we forgot to mention, Stuart Copeland.
He's American.
What?
Yeah, I think he might have been born in England. Yeah, but he lived in England.
I thought he was. Oh my goodness.
I think he was born in Lebanon or something.
I take it back. Never mind.
He's the Yankee in the police.
So he's
the Yankee police.
So he's allowed to carry a gun, unlike British policemen.
Yeah. In fact, there was an article. I think, Mark, you were reading an article to me earlier about Stuart Copeland saying, well, we have drum machines now. What do we need drummers for or something?
Oh, no, that was a text we received today.
Oh.
Stuart Copeland seemed to be okay with drum machines, right? He didn't have an issue with them when they first came out.
He probably used them a lot. When didn't he do the Equalizer TV series? That was him. Soundtrack. He used them, but I mean, their remake of Don't Stand So Close to Me, they had to use a drum machine because he broke his arm, I think.
That explained a lot because I hate
heard
that
it recently.
remake. I can't take it. It's like, ugh.
Mark, it's kind of funny. When it first came out, I'm like, screw this, or why'd they do this? In some ways, I kind of like it. It's not anywhere near as good as the original, but I warmed up to it more, surprisingly.
I'll give it another chance. Yeah. It's been about 30 years.
Didn't change my life. My new pillow I got. I bought a life-changing pillow.
Did you get a My Pillow?
No. Well, I'll be neutral. No.
Okay. No.
We don't do politics on the Music Relish show.
No, it's My Pillow. But we were talking to Ian Pace. When Perry first played that clip, I said, "Holy cow, that's to me a non-drummer. It's Ian Pace and had that style that Ginger Baker had. It's very jazz oriented, and also his solos. He would go down to almost whisper quiet, then bring the dynamics up, which is Carl Palmer said he always felt was important because, like you said, Lou, if you just bang the drum for 15 minutes, everyone's like, "Why?"
But it's interesting on Pictures of Home. The intro it's a drum intro.
Yeah.
The band doesn't come in till after the drum intro.
Yeah.
Ian Pace was the drummer. I was like Deep Purple, but I didn't. He just didn't say everything for me. But upon listening and stuff, even like Hush, but he's very clean. He's jazzy, but he's very wristy.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell he's got great wrist, but his drumming's clean. You can hear everything. Everything he does. It's well placed. It's in that pocket, and that's the key to
very small drum kit.
If you don't hear your drum fill, it's not in the pocket.
Right, and it's a very small drum kit compared to most hard rock drummers, and he never changed. It's always been the same kit.
2/4 tom-toms are mounted.
Yeah, he's still playing it at 70.
I didn't know he was that big on dynamics and stuff like that. Because I've learned whenever I was in marching band, like how important dynamics are into like adding.
So, Lou, what you want to listen to is Made in Japan, the live Purple album. Listen to the Mule. and it's basically a vehicle for him. He does a drum solo, but you'll hear that example of he's.
Well, I've heard
doing.
I've heard the album version.
Oh yeah, we've all had that record. Yeah,
yeah. The live version has like an 8-minute drum solo. Okay. And it's good to listen.
He was very technical, but like I said, he went quiet. He kind of wasn't just so bash.
Yeah. You want to hear an original old song?
Before we do that, because since then I watched the videos of the Ginger Baker Art Blakey drum offs.
Yeah,
Harry, check them out. Have you seen it?
No.
Just look up Ginger Baker Art Blakey. The video quality it's terrible. Someone should clean it up. But the two of them are going, and just when you think one's better than the other one says no.
When was it?
Oh, this was in the 60s. I would say 68.
Oh, it was on film probably.
It's black and white. I mean, it's terrible film quality. But Art Blakey, I listened to some Jazz Messengers. The guy was great, but he was playing, he did something at one point. It was humorous. He played it was just weird. People were laughing, but it was just something he did on the bass drum. I can't explain it. Check it out, but I'm like, what the hell? And I found myself laughing, and Ginger's smiling his face off. But I noticed, but when they show shots between the two, Ginger's looking at Art Blakey like a mentor. Art Blakey he's looking at Ginger like he's an upstart, but he liked him. It was kind of like a kid.
Yeah.
Hey Lou.
Amazing.
Yeah, when I was a CPI and we did the jazz stuff, so I was in the mastering studio transferring. Art Blakey was like probably the first drummer that I got as a jazz drummer. Like I just loved the boom, bam, boom, ba-da, ba-doom, ba-doom. And from him, I went to Philly Joe Jones. Okay. Then you get more advanced. You listen to Tony Williams. You start going out there. But Art Blakey really, I think, to me, he was like one of the originators of jazz drums. I know there were people before him, but
I did some fake jazz drumming yesterday. One of our preludes on Sunday. Again, we're playing with an upright bass player for the last month.
I missed yesterday because it was final day of Premier League, so I'll catch up to it.
But we have to play some jazzy interludes, so I'm like, all right, just go for it. It's improv.
There you
go. Also, and just one more Ginger Baker thing. I watched another video, Perry, and it was him. I think it was the Ginger Baker trio with Charlie Hayden and Bill Frisell.
Yeah.
And all people do was comment on how crappy they said his tom-tom sounded. But I went and listened to the first album today on Spotify. It wasn't what I expected. It's jazz, but then it gets rock, but then it's really hardcore like traditional jazz. But it was I was pretty impressed. Bill Frisell's a pretty awesome guitar player.
Then with Charlie Hayden, you've got a traditional jazz bassist who will go anywhere. That's why he was always good with he died. He was good with Pat Metheny, because with the Pat Metheny you could go in any direction. So he was very versatile bassist.
It was playful. You want to see if Lou 3 L3 recognizes this song?
I'll take a stab at it. This diamond ring. She took it off her finger now. It doesn't mean a thing. This diamond ring doesn't shine for me anymore.
That was the original.
That's the original.
That's the original version. Yep.
Wow.
L2. That's it. I'm gonna start calling you that.
I'm no longer dad.
You're L2 on this show, I guess now.
It's Led Zeppelin 2 and Led Zeppelin 3. That's what it is.
Yeah. But
Headley Green.
He told me that I've heard that song on the oldies.
You probably have, because I've made mention of the
but I do not remember.
Well, you didn't hear that version. Who did that? Was it Gary Lewis and the Playboys?
Gary Lewis and the Playboys covered it. Yeah,
they covered it. Al Cooper is one of the writers on it, though. I think.
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, the band. Al Cooper was in? No, he wasn't in the band. He was working for the record label.
No.
Yeah, he did a lot of work with Dylan. And,
there was two other writers
Skinner.
on it. Yeah, that's probably because there's a lot of timpani on the version of Gary Lewis and Playboys. In place of the bass, it was boom, boom, boom.
Oh, so earlier in the show, Mark, remember we looked at Dave Gilmour's Black Stratocaster.
Yeah.
At Christie's auction. Guys, it went for $3,300,000. Mark, Dave Gilmour's Black Strat.
Blackie.
And they only called it the Black Strat because he replaced the white pickguard with a black pickguard on a Black Stratocaster.
Was that? I never knew he had a signature guitar. I know he's a Strat guy. but I didn't.
No, I don't know, but this is just one of his guitars that he put up for auction.
But for one, it goes for $3 million. It's got to be something really special.
$3.3 million. Yeah.
Wow.
Perry, I just had a great mind expanse.
Who's not play that guitar?
It was Sammy Ambrose who sang the original version of This Time.
Ah,
cool. All right.
It just came out. No, I was Googling.
Nice.
So.
When was what year was that? The original 64,
63.
It says This Diamond Ring is this 1965 song written by Al Cooper, but that was when Gary Lewis and the Playboys. So yeah, I think it was 63 that it came out. Yeah.
So, by the way, there was so we have the other auction now with Mark Knopfler's Les Paul, and there's something little deceitful going on here, I think. See if you recognize it.
This is lot number 42, the extremely rare Gibson Les Paul Standard. Mark purchased it in 1999 and used it to record Let's See You on his 2000 solo album. Great rock and roll, provenance, and sometimes used to perform Brothers in Arms on stage. This is lot number 42.
What is it, a 58 Les Paul? Come on, just say the extremely rare Les Paul. It could just be a reproduction.
No, it's extremely rare because Mark Knopfler owned it. There's not many Les Pauls.
Well,
Mark
let's
Knopfler
see how
owns
much it goes
Where should we
for.
start? You'd like to start me off. Pardon? $100,000 is bid. At $100,000 is here. At $100,000, $150,000.
Maybe Joe Bonamassa's there.
200 is with me. At $200,000. At $200,000. You did a good job, sir. You started us off. At $200,000.
Dang.
Yes or no? 500,000 pounds.
Pound.
It is on my book.
He's on the phone with Joe Bonamassa.
Yeah, go for it.
550,000 pounds.
Jeez, for a guitar.
At 550,000. My absentee bidder is out. That's good luck for you.
Oh boy.
At 550,000 pounds. Anywhere else in the room? 550 it is. Fair warning to Christie's Live.
Oh boy.
At 550,000 pounds, Patrick, congratulations. This is going to your bidder for 550,000 pounds.
No, his bidder is probably some Saudi prince.
Yeah,
you
he's
know,
got like a translator in his ear, probably. Wow.
Yeah.
The owner of Manchester City.
And that 550,000 pounds.
Look where it started. 100,000.
And he had a lot of guitars up at the auction too, Knopfler, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's like the extremely rare Gibson Les Paul. You could say it's a 58 Les Paul, a 59 Les Paul. What if it's a 1990 Les Paul?
Yeah.
Like you said, because Knopfler played it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's the provenance of it, right?
Well, I think they probably get the stats on it before he just puts it up. So what happens? So Christie sells the guitar to the guy. What happens to the money? Where's the money go?
It's up to the seller. So Mark Knopfler, I believe most of his money went to charity.
No, 10% of it went to charity with Mark
10%,
Knopfler, which is very generous. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Mark's not sold many albums in the last 30 years. So, you know, he hasn't been on fire. I love his albums, but they're not selling like hotcakes.
Sultans of Swing will be played on the radio forever.
Absolutely.
Forever.
Yeah.
That's the song I skip over.
But Mark, you've got,
it's
you've
a great
got
song.
a new
It's a great
Knopfler
song.
album.
What do you
He's
think,
not
Luke?
going to be a million
really like
seller
it.
ever
Yeah,
again.
I love this new album. It's a very niche market. You have to like laid back, Celtic twinged, rockabilly, blues, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a very unique Northern English sound that he's got with Scottish influence.
Mm-hmm.
It's right up my alley. But yeah, he's not going to be playing Madison Square Garden doing that.
What was L3 saying? Luth, L3, what were you saying?
I said, you know, I love the song Sultans of Swing, but I've just heard it. That's one song I've heard so many times. But Louis, the first three Dire Straits records are worth checking out too.
Oh yeah,
Pretenders and Dire Straits.
And if I'm skipping a song, it's going to be Money for Nothing. Probably.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I'm sick of that too.
Oh, by the way, that Les Paul went up for sale too. The one he played on that one.
Oh,
What did that fetch? I would think a lot more.
I don't
money.
know. We'll find it. Maybe next time we'll cover. He had a custom-made Ovation guitar, and they dumped a lot. These guys have so many guitars, man.
Yeah.
You know?
What I said earlier in the show, I still stand by. A guitar has a soul. When you buy a dog, you don't lock that dog in a room and ignore it because that's torture. These investors that buy these guitars are going to put them up in a glass case probably. They're not going to play them, and that guitar will be robbed of making music just because someone famous played it. And I don't like that.
You're going to spend $3 million just to look at a guitar.
Yeah.
It's wild to me.
It's to have it.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, it's going to be behind a glass enclosure, that guitar, the $3 million black Strat.
One of these days, I'm going to deliver to someone's wine cellar. It's temperature controlled. There's going to be some big guitar up on the wall. Yeah, they do that for the investment, for the value of it. But
it's and like they could be starting a museum.
Yeah, it's an instrument. It's alive. It's got life to it. It's what you put in.
So when these investors set their sights, like there was a time when you didn't have investors going after musical instruments. Once they set their sights on musical instruments, it takes them out of the marketplace. It takes them out of players' hands. It's also it raises the price of all guitars. And like we discussed, Perry, earlier in the show, my Strat that I got for $750 made in America, now I wouldn't be able to buy one, a Strat, a Fender, because they're too much money,
Oh, and also think about this. They can, in years to come, after we're all long gone, they can scrape that black Strat and reincarnate Dave Gilmour. They can clone David Gilmour from DNA from that black Stratocaster.
There's got to be something on the fretboard.
That reminds me of the "You Got Lucky" video from Tom Petty, where they're in like a post-apocalyptic world and he picks the guitar up from the dirt.
Yeah. Oh, one time I was in a coffee shop in Asheville and I came across this kind of person. Have you guys ever come across this kind of coffee sale person?
I'd like a large coffee.
Okay, so hot coffee?
Hot coffee.
Okay, room for cream?
Totally leave room for cream.
Why are you talking like that?
Why are you talking like that?
Vocal fry.
This is my voice?
This is my voice.
No, it's not. I heard you talking a minute ago. I know you don't talk like that.
Neither do you, because nobody actually talks like this. You choose to talk like this, and today I chose to talk like this. Pretty fucking annoying.
I've come across people who talk like that.
Man?
Just stop doing that.
I can't help it. It's my voice.
No, it's not. It's an affectation that annoying teenagers and rich people use to sound like they don't give a shit. Except you work in a coffee shop, so I know you're not rich, and you don't look like a teenager. Unless you're Eunice Kennedy Shriver, knock it off.
So just because I talk like this means I don't give a shit? And what exactly am I supposed to not give a shit about?
That's an excellent question to ask yourself in your actual voice.
Excuse me. Some of us would like to order. You're a total dick, man.
There you go. Good. You're talking.
That's Sam Loudermilk.
Is that the guy from Clerks? Is he the guy from Clerks?
Yeah. But
Clerks.
he had a show, had 3 seasons called Loudermilk. He was a former writer for like Rolling Stone magazine and those kind of magazines. And his character was a former, music critic. Yeah.
He lives in Alabama.
And that's in Seattle, but he comes across these people like, who talk like that.
That's called vocal fry.
Yeah.
Vocal fry,
I've had a few, whenever I was working at Subway, I had a few people come in, and I almost didn't want to. I couldn't.
Good.
I was so they were talking to me, giving me their order.
Yeah.
Their voice was so ear piercing, and I just couldn't follow anything they were saying. I almost wanted to just kick them out.
But it's an affectation. Nobody actually talks like that.
It's too much.
Well, it's like the Kardashians. The Kardashians do that.
Hey, Lou, when you worked in Subway.
What is it, Ma? I can't even do it.
There's a Subway question. What's up?
When you worked did you ever get people came in, because me and Perry went through this in the laundromat, they want to place their whole order while they're on the phone having a conversation. So it's like they're talking to somebody.
I know them.
Yeah.
I hate that.
That didn't bother me.
Well, when you were working there, that was right at the time that guy killed the Subway clerk because he put too much mayo on his sandwich.
Told me about that.
Oh.
It's like, just give them what they asked for and don't give them any more. You're out in the Badlands there, Marshall.
Give them some lip. Yeah.
Out in the boonies.
You had a problem with the customer. You had a problem with one customer, I remember.
Yeah, I just have problems with everybody, don't I?
No, customer service is hard. It's not
easy.
Because people in our society,
when it comes to customer service, it's hard sometimes.
Right.
Yes,
because in the last 10 years, our society has become so condescending to people in customer service.
Well, it's a Frankenstein monster that we've created because the companies and these websites tell us what we think customers want. There's that 30-second or the 15-second rule when someone walks into your business. You're supposed to be verbally assaulted by everybody. Hi. After a while, it's like the Three Stooges. Yeah. Hello.
Did we
do that?
Let's L3. Are you familiar with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
He's in it.
I'm somewhat familiar. Yeah.
Oh, how do you feel? What do you feel about the inductees this year? Who's like Dave Matthews Band and.
Yeah, we're off to an interesting start with that one.
I think they should be in.
I don't know. I keep breathing into the mic.
That's okay.
It's I don't know, man. It's like the.
Well, do we have a list of the inductees?
Yeah, I'm getting that right now.
Yeah, I'd like to see a list.
We've discussed it in the past, but I want to hear from L3 what he thinks.
Yeah. Well, let me run them down.
Run by the kid, young man.
All right, so I'll run them down for Lou. In the performer category, you got Mary J. Blige, Cher, Dave Matthews Band, Foreigner, Peter Frampton, Kool and the Gang, Ozzy Osbourne solo, and A Tribe Called Quest.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Now, in musical excellence, you've got Jimmy Buffett, MC5, Dionne Warwick, and Norman Whitfield. Music Influence Award, Alexis Korner, John Mayall, and Big Mama Thornton. Ahmet Ertegun Award for, it's usually an industry insider, goes to Susan DePass. She was an executive. So that's the lineup. Yeah. I like this lineup in general. I'm okay.
What about the performers,
Lou? Start from the beginning, though. Name was it the musical excellence? Let me see if you think they belong in.
Okay. All right, so performer category is Mary J. Blige. What do you say?
I'm not sure. Do I know who that is? You might. I don't think I do.
I know who she is, but I can't say I've ever heard a record by her. So, but
I'm a fan. She came out when hip hop hit big, but she was an R&B singer and she incorporated hip hop. And I just like her.
So I can
definitely... she was a trailblazer.
It's modern R&B, not 60s like soul.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Now, Cher. What do you think about that?
I can understand it. Personally, I don't know a lot of Cher, but I know she was big. In the music game.
Got you.
I agree. See, now that's open-minded. Very good. Yeah.
Right. And she had hits in the 70s that were big too. Half Breed.
Yeah.
Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves.
So just going off of her name alone, I can.
Yep.
We know Lou's answer to this one. Dave Matthews Band.
I'm not against it. I don't. I just.
All I can say is
that was very diplomatic. That was good.
Dorm room dipshits. That's who. Dorm room dipshits. That's who votes him.
I like him. I relate to Dave Matthews like I relate to Grateful Dead. I like his studio stuff better than live because he's got concise singles. And there's some songs he makes some really beautiful songs. His new album is fantastic. It's something. He just hit something, and he's But yeah.
Who else?
Okay, Foreigner.
Yes.
They rock, man.
They rock. I hope they were 80s, right?
70s.
70s and
80s.
Yeah.
Because they almost had because like they had. I remember their like 80s style type of production.
Yeah. I've been waiting for a girl like you.
Chords and just the very explosive type of production.
Yeah.
Jukebox Hero? Was that 70s or 80s?
Yeah, 80s. That was 4. The album. Yeah.
Cool.
Wow. Peter Frampton.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed. I think he should be in.
Okay.
The youth of America is speaking.
That's right. Celebration. Kool and the Gang.
Sure.
That's my type of music.
There you go. He likes the
funk.
I like
Lou, I don't know if
soul music. I love that.
And before they were like a big commercial band, they had some serious funk albums that were not very commercial. Check out their earliest stuff.
Get Down Tonight, was that them?
No, that's
Casey.
Yeah.
Okay.
They did Jungle Boogie.
Is Casey in the Sunshine Band the Hall of Fame?
I don't think so.
Because I think they should be as well.
I think they are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Are they?
I
don't know. I thought that they were.
Should be.
Could be.
They had some hit singles, man. I can't say I've ever seen a Casey and the Sunshine Band album, but
sure,
they had hit songs on the radio, right?
Oh, yeah.
They did.
Yeah,
we've all shaken our booties.
I was too young.
We all...
Hey Lou,
I shook mine more than one point.
I was 8 years old when that was big, so I was too young to shake my booty.
No, you did. You just didn't know you were
too
doing
young to
it.
get into it.
Next one. I'm surprised how many negative responses I've gotten from talking to people, but Ozzy Osbourne solo. What do you feel?
Not my cup of tea, but I do agree with it.
I think he was a trailblazer. He was in a heavy metal. He opened that was a new.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
His solo stuff stands apart from Black Sabbath.
He wasn't always playing like hardcore, like metal-esque, like rock music. You know, like "Mama, I'm Coming Home."
That's a beautiful
power
ballad.
He could, he could hit those sentimental, emotional notes. You know what I mean?
But I see, Lou, that's very open-minded of you because I feel the same way. Like, some music doesn't resonate with me, but I acknowledge that they belong in there. So that's wise beyond your years, Lou.
Wise men say. Okay,
he's growing into it.
Last one, Tribe Called Quest.
I love a Tribe Called Quest.
So do I. Yeah,
100% down with that.
I feel that style of hip hop is like a relative to rock and roll. They got the attitude of rock and roll, so I'm fine with them being in the rock and roll Hall of Fame.
They have the swag and production of like most rappers, or like hip hop groups. They have this one song, like Electric Relaxation, I believe is what it's called. Just like the production and the very simple but like driving drum beat.
The drum samples are great.
The drum sample, just sampling. I'm a huge fan of like sampling. That's why I love hip hop. Like, whilst he is very controversial, like a man like Kanye West, everything else he's ever said aside, but like everything ever,
I think he's ever
aside
said.
from his music, he brought sampling to like a whole new level. Like Marvin Gaye, a lot of R&B and like soul sampling.
Interesting because earlier in the show, Mark and I were talking about a lawsuit that UMG, Universal Music Group, settled with King Crimson. That Kanye West had a song called "Power" and he sampled 21st Century Schizoid Man without their permission, and
I didn't know.
Just got settled. Yeah.
I like to hear that.
It's good. That's
actually.
That's his magnum opus song.
What's it called?
It's called Power.
Called Power.
Very, Kanye, vulgar.
Yeah.
But
Lou, what you say about Kanye is just what my son-in-law says. Like, we were talking when he first came into the family, and he mentioned Kanye, and he saw me go like that because at the time he was in the news for all these weird comments.
Yeah.
And he said, "Don't go there because I know what Led Zeppelin is to you. If Robert Plant made a lot of stupid comments, you still would have loved him, right?" So he said, Kanye is like, I love Kanye, and I know he says stupid things, but his music is like, and he used to see him every chance he had. He showed me pictures of his show. His show is like an over-the-top rock show. It's amazing.
They go
stuff.
crazy. And like with the younger generation, like a lot of younger people are going to be fans of Kanye just because, I mean, he came onto the scene in 2005 with his College Dropout album.
Okay.
And so just a lot of more younger people tend to resonate with this type of music. So
hip hop became mainstream. So that was a big sea change when hip hop became mainstream.
Yeah. But also I've also learned that you need to separate the art from the artist. Goes for a lot of artists.
I caught flack for putting a Van Morrison song on my Facebook page. So someone was railing against Van's status on immigration. Don't do that anymore on my Facebook.
Right, judge him by his music, not his personal political views.
Someone like Eric Clapton.
Yeah, good point.
Like a lot of stupid things that he said, anti-vax and all that. I'm pretty sure it was that.
You know what separates
He made a whole song about it.
He went on a racist rant in '76. He was drunk on stage, and he went on a very, very racist rant, supporting a very racist politician. That started the Rock Against Racism movement, specifically. But
so, not the smartest thing said, but there is no denying how much of a cultural impact Clapton had on, the blues scene and the psychedelic rock scene, and just for guitar players all over the world to this day.
His best work is with Cream.
100%. I wish they would have kept going.
Yeah.
You know,
And I kind of hope they would have like branched out a little bit from like the psychedelic blues and rock, and just see what else they could have done. But
Ginger and Jack might have killed themselves.
Well, like they
said,
said,
killed each other.
Like Jack Bruce said, you know, we made our mark. You know that we did. I mean, you know, in 2 years, how many albums did they put out since
just like
66
imagine
to
what we could have
68?
seen.
They might have gone really jazz.
Yeah.
You know,
probably.
Yeah, good point.
More like the lines of what Ginger Baker's Air Force.
Yeah, what if? It's like a Quentin Tarantino topic. You know, what if? Yeah.
He could
As
write
if?
the Cream story and change it, like he
Well, you have
changes
to say
history.
it like this. What if? What if? I can't. How do you do that? It's like you got to practice that.
Vocal fry.
I'll
So,
have a cheeseburger and an order of vocal fries, please.
So today I happened to be in a meeting with people from our parent organization, and there were 4 people that had vocal fry in that meeting, and they were stepping on me. I just stopped. You know, I'm 54.
Should have got on the tirade, Mark.
No, I'm 54. I'm trying to get my point across, and well, I think, and I said, you know,
yeah. Let's get Sam
Don't
Loudermilk to come into the meeting and tell them it's an affectation that rich people and teenagers act like they don't give a shit.
Well, yeah, they're going through something. I wish she wasn't a teenager. The other one was when someone asked, everything sounds like a question.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I had a Starbucks girl do that. I said, "Oh, this is a different take on it." But hi, can I help you? No, not even that. It's just here's your coffee.
Yeah.
Here's your
That
cream.
is so much worse.
Here's your cream. Like you're asking me or telling me?
Yeah.
Dealt with that too.
Yeah.
That is way worse.
Well, you were very polite at Subway. I'm like, Lou, your father, give me the sandwich for nothing. I would never do that. No, you asked me for one of the cookie.
Well, I'll say something. We have a Subway block for me here in Pearl River, and every time I go in, I marvel at the utter stupidity of some of the people that order, and they're usually men around my age. We are not the smartest, you know. And like I was watching a guy today. Okay, on this sandwich, put lettuce, and he kept adding on as they're putting it on. Like, just tell them right out. Then oil and vinegar on the side. I was like,
you're bringing back some traumatic flashbacks.
Well, Subway has changed their menu recently, and I mean, it's grilled. They have grilled chicken and
it's good stuff. Yeah,
I think they've upped their game.
I like the Italian stuff. Well, they're slicing meats in there now. I do like the Italian stuff, but I went in there. I went in one about a month or so ago for lunch, and I couldn't find the spicy Italian. I was like,
I know that was my, and it was cheap. It was cheap.
Yeah,
you know. We have Jersey Mike's up here, and they're giving Subway a run for their money.
Jersey,
it's a very good sandwich.
We do Jersey Mike's. We love it.
Bojangles chicken, Mr. Bojangles
chicken. Yeah.
So you guys got Jersey Mike's down there? You got?
Oh, yeah.
You got Jersey Mike's?
Yeah.
Cool.
And the one I used to go into, I used to look at the map, and I told one guy, I said, I live there, and I live there, and like he's like, shit up.
Do you remember the old Subways had a map of Brooklyn with the subway stops?
Yeah.
On the walls. That was so cool.
Yeah. Walmart. Or the Walmart in Weaverville has a Subway in it, and it has that like map of it's really
That's
cool.
the old style.
Feels very like old school.
Yeah.
Almost antique.
Reminds me of Emerson, New Jersey. I used to go to the one in Emerson. I never knew
that?
I never knew it was a Subway chain. It was one of those little strip malls going down
on
Kinnickinnick Road.
Yeah. I went in there. We used to go down there. Yeah. That was like the first one in our area of New Jersey, I think.
Okay.
There was none anywhere else. So yeah.
That's where I lived in my $500 studio apartment on Kinnickinnick Road.
Wow.
That weird building.
You can still get a $500 studio apartment in Emerson, you know.
Really?
No.
No way. No way. No, I'm calling BS on that.
Yeah,
you could get a bathroom for $500, but nothing else.
Yeah. Mark, do you want to do the availability report?
Sure. And as I'm going into it, I just want to remind you, we're going to continue, but thank you, Lou, for coming on. Which Lou did I talk about? You know which Lou I'm talking about.
There's Louie. You can call him Louie.
I like to hear, because I talk to my son-in-law. It gives me a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
He also grew up in England. So he's got a across the pond kind of thing, you know, but he softened me up on some artists that I didn't think I liked. He just softened me. I see it from his perspective. And the Kanye thing, what you said is exactly what he said. I had to recognize that he's a huge influence on younger.
And he's also
listeners.
clearly a very because I know a lot about like his mother dying whenever he made 808s and Heartbreak, and like ever since then he's kind of hit just like this this like decade-long rough patch.
Yeah, he's got issues. Yeah,
it's I've acknowledged that he's clearly got some mental health problems going on. So.
Yeah,
I have a question for the youth of America. What do you think of the under 30 singer-songwriters, like those whispery singers and all that? The Coffee House Channel stuff.
Yeah, like
you ride in the car with me. So what do you think?
I mean, in my opinion, it's usually just acoustic stuff, and I don't normally, being a drummer.
But I mean,
but also like the whispery vocals, that's not my thing.
Okay. What about the subject matter? Do you think it's a little too?
I think the subject matter is like, a respectable thing to try to make music about, but maybe don't be so whispery about it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's usually about mental, like depression and struggling with your mental health.
Right, which is nothing to make fun of, and it's a serious thing. But some of them have been accused of kind of using it as a format, because now there's a format to use it as a format. And if that's the case, then it becomes kind of formulaic. But genuine, you can tell the genuine from the ungenuine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what we don't want to know is that there's a record label saying to somebody, record a song about suicide because that's hot right now. We don't want to know that.
We want to use your mental struggle.
Yeah.
We
as far as songwriting too, whatever comes to you comes to you.
Or if you're not struggling, don't write a song like to tap into that mark. You know what I mean? Because that's exploitive. If you're genuinely...
haven't the record labels or business have always been exploiting that in artists? I mean, some of the classic songs are written by people in a dark frame of mind, but they exploit it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to that type of music, like if you want to put a song out there just to like put the message out, I understand that. I wouldn't try to put a song out there about your upbringing and like how rough it was or whatever. Just for
it can go the wrong way. Right. It can make you look like you're complaining.
Because then you look like kind of a douche,
Because there's people that had it worse than you, and they're gonna go, so what? Your father slapped you? My father punched me, and then
right.
Yeah,
and on the internet, everybody argues about everything all the time.
Ask Mark about that. He knows. He gets involved in these arguments on the threads.
Don't.
I have death threats.
That is a waste. You're not going to get anywhere.
I've left so many appreciation groups because it got political, it got personal. Yeah, and I'm like, good, click it out. And also, I might be leaving the bad album cover one, Mark, because they would not post my Herbie Man from the Push album, all furry chest and everything else. Is a thing called bad album covers.
We had an album covers segment. Don't you remember?
Yeah, there's this Jazz Flowers Herbie Man, but he did these like full frontal, like bare chest, hairy chest album covers. They're terrible. But they didn't post it. I submitted it twice, so I'm gonna leave in protest.
The reason
there's someone blowing a French horn up some guy's butt. But that gets put on there.
Oh my goodness!
Oh boy,
I know that one.
You know the one.
I know. I do.
How do you know that? I don't know. I don't care.
YouTube video.
The reason I fight back to these people,
sure.
The reason I fight back is a long time ago. I was on. I think it was a Steely Dan thing, and some lady came on and she said, "My favorite Steely Dan album is Two Against Nature." Now that was their comeback album. It was an excellent album. Did it have the quality of Asia? No, it was playing wise, but the compositions were, but it was her favorite. So some guy gets on and he goes, the worst Steely Dan album, that is garbage. So I replied to him, I said, why don't you cut some slack? This is appreciation. If someone likes an album and they get joy from it, leave them alone. And he puts, no, I could say what I want. I have freedom of speech. So I looked at his profile. He was my age. I'm like, why are you whining? So I said, I'm going to go after these people. I just started doing that.
Right into his hand.
But you know what I do?
Right into his hands. Yeah.
I don't fight them. I just make comments like, leave it alone. Let it go. And they get mad at that,
Oh, you'll never get through to them.
No, never.
Ever.
Never.
Never.
Yeah, they're right. You're wrong. Right.
I like to say things like this. You really need to go back and listen to the whole catalog.
People don't like homework. You want to finish this, Mark?
That's what she said. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Excuse me.
So the Music Relish pod. I made a mistake. The Music Relish show can be found on Apple, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Amazon Alexa, Pocket Casts, YouTube, Facebook, Odyssey, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Overcast, and our main platform, if you have it, Spotify. Basically, whatever you're listening to us right now on, just click subscribe if you like what you hear, and just keep listening on whatever you're listening on. We appreciate any comments. If you want to email us, Perry, what's the email?
You'll see it coming up on the outro. You
for
can
our
mention
audio
it on the
guests,
outro.
I'll read it.
musicrelishshow@gmail.com.
Yep. Music Relish, no the.
No.
Okay.
It's just
Music Relish
Show. Music Relish Shoe. Yeah. Yep.
Show.
Yep.
And I would like to thank Louis. Thank you, my recent high school graduate.
I would like to thank L3 for sitting in. Yeah.
Come on anytime. It's great having your point of view. We need that, different points of view.
I'd love to talk to you all about
all
sorts of stuff. I mean, maybe not everything, because I'm not as knowledgeable, but
I could come
in and learn a lot of things from you.
Hey, as long as you have an open mind, that's all.
Yeah, I'm all for having an open mind and
so I'm the new guy on this show, and I learned a lot from your dad and Perry. I learned a lot on this show in the time.
And you got a lot to learn still more.
And there's also things about, like, for instance, there's a lot of songs that I like and a lot of bands that I like, but I don't need them at my fingertips all the time.
Right.
I don't have to have them a click away. To you know what I mean?
Perry, do we have time for a trigger warning? Because Louis likes Oyster Cult.
I was about to. I know. Before I left, I was going to talk to you about them. I was going to say I have a question for Perry, and I want to know what. Now Perry.
Yeah. Here we go. Okay.
What do you
Lou,
have
you've got him, dude. Why did you do that, Lou?
What do you got against Blue Oyster Cult?
Box of crap.
POC.
I cannot believe that.
They don't it's simple as this. They don't resonate with me.
Right.
I'm not saying they suck. They don't resonate with me. That's as simple as simplest explanation I can give.
Well, okay.
Balls of clay.
But if they're like a song like "Then Came the Last Days in May," are you telling me you don't resonate with a song like that?
I don't even know what that song is.
It was on the first album. It's an album that has
I listened to the first album.
Transmission.
Yeah.
Rager, I'm getting.
That's so great. I love it.
You're as beautiful as a foot. Sneaker. I don't even want to go into it.
Remember, Perry, I was saying that to you on every show, and you're like, Mark,
what are you
talking about, Mark?
Well,
I made a comment, Lou, the other day. Rock Candy Magazine is an English record label, and people just go on and talk about their favorite groups. And some lady from London came on and said, I'm 35 years old. I finally got into Blue Oyster Cult, and I got it. I didn't get it for years. What do you all think? So my comment was, I couldn't get into Blue Oyster Cult because I was led to believe through journalism and what people said is they were supposed to be America's answer to Black Sabbath. So I was expecting heavy metal. When I didn't hear heavy metal and I heard almost punky stuff at times, I just turned them off, except for the hits. The hits were great. It took your dad to really talk to me about it. And then I listened, and when I heard, and I asked him on Facebook, remember, I said, what album should I start with? You said start with the debut. It was hard for me at first. It was a little hard because I thought the drums were thin, but then I got it. It's like something clicked, and I got it.
What are we talking about?
Trigger warning.
Oh, jeez. You're still talking about them?
Hey, does Lou know about Steve Wilson and Porcupine Tree and Zebra?
Why don't we go to the outro, Mark?
Hey, Lou. Hey, see this band? They're not on Spotify, but that's a classic debut album.
Zebra.
You should check them out.
Zebra?
Yeah, Zebra. Yeah.
Let's do it.
My question about BOC was answered.
Lou's asking a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Lou.
Oh, no, my question, I was just going to say my question about Blue Oyster Cult has been answered. I understand it not resonating with you, but that
doesn't resonate. Yeah.
That had been on my mind for quite some time. And
how old are you, Lou? How old are you?
I'm 18.
Okay, so my son's 25, and he didn't like Blue Oyster Cult when I started listening to them, but he ended up saying, yeah, I like them. Like, it clicked with him, too. So our sons like Blue Oyster Cult. That's pretty cool.
All right. You want to sign
I'd
off,
get along
Mark?
with your son pretty well.
Yeah, he's laid back. You'd like him. I'm going to try and get him on the show.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah. Or we just pay a visit down there.
Yeah. I think...
Come on down.
Before y'all continue, I think I'm going to...
I think we're done for the night.
Come
y'all are
on
done?
down. Yep.
Yeah, we're done.
Let's do it.
Okay.
We bid you good night. See you next week on The Music Relish Show.
That's me?
That's you.
I must have been drunk when I did that. The Music Relish.
Drunk? You got to ask it as a question. You must have been drunk?
I must have been drunk at the time.
I drank my beer in a glass.
What were you so bleeding drunk for then?
I drank
Tell your
it.
son this is when we act like horses' asses and show things on the show.
This is the music relish.
Give it up, Mark. Come on. What is that? Thanks to our subscribers, right?
Thanks to all our subscribers, man. We appreciate you listening to us. Feedback is always welcome. You can criticize if we make a mistake.
Is Lou and Louie.
Criticize the guy Mark for not putting the shows on Facebook when he should.
So collectively, we are just Lou. See, it's a we've melded.
Well, you two are going to record. Hey, Lou. By the way, L3, did you record the percussion track on the song I've been bugging your dad about?
Yeah,
for forever.
I got I've been doing some work on it.
Yeah,
trying to figure out what he wants me to do, what I want to incorporate in there. I think it sounds pretty good.
Yeah, he got one takedown, but we're gonna do more though. But we just get him used to recording. He's never recorded before. He did rather well. He doesn't like the click track, and I understand that completely. It's distracting, right?
It's a bit.
It's like someone tapping. It's like someone tapping on your
go
ear.
away after.
Of course, but
the real
fact, I've already got
laid down.
What he did, he played to my vocal and my guitar tracks, which were done through the click track. So he's got rhythm in there. He just doesn't have to deal with that annoyance, which saps your creativity, unless you're a machine. I find it just. You must do that for perfect digital editing.
L2 and L3. Spotify, yeah. We did one special show on Spotify. We couldn't even get a New Orleans show together.
Let's do a Boys to Cult show.
We couldn't even do it. Yeah, I'm
really
real proud of that.
Yeah. No, it's like when's Mardi Gras? It was like 2 weeks after.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's all past.
I gotta organize better.
See you soon from the Music Relish crew.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.